What's going on, brother? Welcome to Philosophy of Man. Today I will be discussing why fulfillment doesn't come from chasing more, but it comes from coming back to less. Okay, so let's dive into it. Point number one, freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. Epictetus. So desires are eternal and ever evolving. And what I mean by this is you're always going to have desires. They're always going to be there. They're never not going to be there. And they're going to be constantly changing. As you experience different things in your life, as you date people, as you take on different jobs, different careers, your desires will constantly flux and change and turn into something new. Sometimes things you never really thought you'd really have a desire for, right? Sometimes you see this with people that reach, an older age and they maybe want kids, so they decide to adopt. Or maybe sometimes you see it with somebody who, worked as a paramedic all their lives and all of a sudden they hit 40 and they realize they don't want to do this anymore. They want to start their own business. Desires are constantly changing, okay? So get that through your head, understand that. And a big thing with desires is you need to be wary of their origin. Okay, a lot of us take on desires that were bestowed onto us from our parents, from society, from our teachers, whoever it is. You have to be wary of these desires because a lot of the time they come from a place of seeking approval, seeking respect, and overall seeking external validation. And the truth is, this validation will never really fill your soul or your heart, okay? So it's vital you understand that eliminating desires doesn't mean you're ignoring them. It means you're understanding them. It's kind of a profound statement, but if you think about it for a second, it makes complete sense, right? If you're eliminating certain desires from your life or certain goals you have and you're just getting rid of them, there's a reason that's happening. It's because you're understanding them. You're maybe understanding where they're coming from and why they're not completely authentic to you. You're maybe understanding that they won't bring the fruitful benefits that you really thought they would, right? So it's very important that you get that distinction in your head, okay? Point number two, what does it mean to come back to less? So a simple example would be being grateful for what you have, understanding that you don't need any more to be happy. Everything you need is right here. The sun's out. Maybe you're walking on 2 feet. That's always good. Maybe you still have your sense of smell, so you can smell bacon in the morning. Maybe both your hands work perfectly fine. There's always something that you can be grateful for, no matter how dark life gets, because life can get dark. There is always a light somewhere. There is always a candle dimly lit in the background or a light flickering just around the corner. And I want you to look. Be grateful for that light, that fire, because it's sometimes the very thing you need to persevere, okay? Another thing I want to talk about is learning what sparks your soul. So this is such a cliche, right? How many people tell you to pursue your passions? Pursue your passions and you won't work a day in your life. I mean, there's truth to that, right? You don't necessarily have to make your passion your career, but I really want you to hone in on the things that make you feel alive. When you wake up in the morning, what do you want to do? Do you want to grab a notebook and you want to start writing a story? Do you want to pick up the guitar and start strumming some strings? What makes you feel so alive that life is so worth it? That life is just so worth it. Find the things that bring that spark for you. They're so important for a fulfilling life, okay? Which, this brings me to my next point. Creating authentic ambition and not superficial ambition. Whoa, what the hell does that mean? I made that up for this video, but In essence, authentic ambition is something that's coming from you, right? Superficial ambition is something that's coming from the desire for external validation, whether it's the desire for money, the desire for approval from peers, the desire for your parents' applause, maybe. Authentic ambition, being ambitious about things that you love. I don't know, man. Maybe you love pouring coffee for people and you like being a barista. Maybe you love working out and going to the gym. Having ambitions that are aligned with those things that ring true to your soul. That's the beauty of life. The superficial ambition, the need to get more money, the need to look like the coolest guy at the bar, the desire to be of high status. In truth, those are empty, bottomless voids of pursuits. And I know as men, we tend to make them a high priority. The status, I get it. The money, I get it. But what if you could get the money and status even if you followed your authentic ambitions? Because it's possible. And what's even better about that is you're going to feel 1,000,000 times better doing that over the superficial ambitions. Number 3, making the leap. You need to be raw and vulnerable. You need to be honest and truthful with yourself. Ask yourself this. Would I be pursuing what I'm pursuing if money didn't matter? Am I actually enjoying what I'm doing on a daily basis? Is there an insatiable desire to prove myself to the world? It's time to let go of external validation and opinions. This is your greatest obstacle. This is the thing that drives everybody wild. It makes you take certain actions. It makes you pursue certain careers. It makes you prioritize wealth over your mental health. It's the very thing that destroys people from the inside. This need for approval is nonsense. The only approval you need is yourself, your soul's approval. You have to start operating from the heart and soul. And we spoke about this briefly already, right? No more superficial ambition. We're taking the direction of authentic ambition. You haven't written since you were in grade 6? Start writing again. You want to play music and share it with the world? Start making music. Now, by no means am I saying quit your job and go on a hiatus to Hawaii. If you want to do that, feel free. But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to let go of your desire for external approval and your worries about people's opinions. The only opinion that's only going to matter at the end of your life is your own opinion of yourself. When you get to that 80-year-old mark, that 90-year-old mark, will you look back on your life and wonder, what if? Will you look back on your life and think, wow, I wish I didn't live my life for other people. I wish I lived it for myself. The bottom line is there's always something to pursue. You need to differentiate between whether it aligns with you or whether it doesn't. And whether it aligns with you has to do with your values, your beliefs, your purpose, your passions, your interests, your curiosities, and so much more. It's time that you eliminate what's not important, what's unnecessary, so you can focus on what is important and what is necessary. And the only way to figure out what's important is by understanding yourself. Who you are, who you want to be, your values, your beliefs, your passions, the grand purpose you believe you have. Maybe you haven't found that yet, but that's a video for another time. Let go of the need for approval and outside opinion, and you will free yourself to live a life of abundance that's aligned with your soul. Thank you for watching, brother. hit the like button, comment down below what you think, subscribe, stay tuned for next week's video, and I appreciate you watching. Take care, brother.